Okay, let's just dive right into this. This is one of those news stories that drops over a weekend and just sends these massive shock waves all over the world. While the markets were closed, Donald Trump unleashed what you can only call an economic bomb on China. And believe me, the fallout was instant and it was brutal.
So, what was the immediate result? A mind boggling $1.6 trillion just gone, wiped from the U.S. stock market in a flash. And look, this wasn't just some minor dip in the market. This was a sign of real, genuine, widespread panic.
And this is why it happened. Trump went on Truth Social and made this absolutely jaw-dropping threat, a potential 100% tariff on every single thing coming from China. I mean, that one statement sent investors running for the hills and completely reset the entire conversation about global trade. So just how deep did this panic actually run? Well, the reaction was incredibly fast, and it went global, hitting pretty much every single corner of the financial world. And yeah, the pain was really spread out. You had U.S. tech giants, we're talking Tesla, Amazon, all the big names, they were deep in the red. But it didn't stop there. We saw this huge sell-off in global stocks, and even the crypto market took a historic billion-dollar hit, one of the worst it has ever seen. So naturally, everyone started asking, why? Why right now? What is going on? And, of course, a very popular theory popped up almost immediately, and it involved a very, very famous award. The rumor mill just went into absolute overdrive. Was this whole thing just Trump lashing out because he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize? It's a very tempting, kind of simple explanation for such a huge, dramatic move.
And look, let's be clear, the White House is definitely furious with the Nobel Committee. Officials have been out there publicly slamming the decision, saying it was all politics. So that anger, it's very real. But it's not the reason for these tariffs. That's a completely different fire.
The actual trigger is something way more strategic and, honestly, kind of unexpected. This massive economic showdown, it didn't start over trade deficits or stolen ideas. No, it started with a simple argument over which airplanes can fly where. So let's break down how this all built up, because this is really where a seemingly small issue just spirals out of control and becomes a major international crisis. Okay, so here's the core of it. U.S. airlines can't fly over Russia, which means they have to take longer, more expensive routes to get to Asia. But Chinese airlines, they use that same Russian airspace as a shortcut to get to the U.S. So the U.S. government basically said, hey, that's not fair. If we can't do it, you can't either. And China's response was pretty blunt. Your relationship with Russia is your problem. Don't punish us for it. So, seeing the U.S. as being totally uncooperative, China decided to hit back. And they didn't just mirror with another tariff. No, they went for the jugular, targeting a resource that is absolutely essential to the modern American economy. And that resource is rare earth minerals. This is such a brilliant illustration of China's leverage. I mean, these aren't just some obscure things on the periodic table. They are the lifeblood of everything. We're talking about the magnets in your electric car, the circuits in your smartphone, all the way up to the guidance systems in super advanced military hardware. And the key? China dominates the global supply. So you can literally see the escalation ladder. Step 1, the U.S. proposes the flight ban. Step 2, China sees this as a hostile act. And then, step 3, China hits back, telling other countries like India, sure, you can buy our rare earth minerals, but you are forbidden from reselling or re-exporting them to the United States. They basically tried to cut America off at the knees. And that move right there by China is what directly triggered Trump's absolutely furious reaction and the tariff threat that sent the markets into a tailspin. Trump himself put it this way, saying that China was sending extremely hostile letters all around the world, ordering them to put export controls on the U.S. So from his point of view, this was a totally unprecedented and aggressive move in international trade. And that brings us right back to that number, 100%. The really big question fueling all this fear in the market is this 100% replacing the current 30% tariffs? Or, and this is the scary part, is it being added on top, creating a totally crippling 130% tax on all Chinese goods? That level of uncertainty, it's paralyzing. So as you can see, this isn't just about the markets anymore. This whole conflict has now thrown a giant wrench into the very delicate machinery of international diplomacy. And to be specific, It's casting a very, very dark shadow over the upcoming APEC Summit in South Korea. This is supposed to be a crucial meeting where world leaders were hoping to find some stability. And Trump really drove that point home with this quote. He openly questioned whether he even wants to meet with President Xi Jinping at the summit, calling a potential meeting pointless. I mean, that takes a trade dispute and immediately elevates it to a full-blown diplomatic crisis. And all of this just leaves the world on edge. I mean, will that critical meeting actually get canceled? What could China's next move even be in this high-stakes chess game? Can the markets possibly find their footing? And is this just the first shot in a much, much deeper and more damaging economic conflict? Ultimately, it leaves us all with one final question to think about. Is this a calculated negotiating tactic, a strategic threat designed to force China's hand? Or is it simply unleashing pure economic chaos onto the world? Right now, the entire world is waiting to find out the answer.